Hi everyone, and welcome back to Excellence Noir, where we seek to raise the standard and change the status quo. Now, you guys know that I try my best to be as honest as possible, sharing my experience from the time I left St. Lucia to now. I moved from St. Lucia to the UK in 2019, and things were all right. And I think throughout the years, there were ups and downs. There was COVID, there was all of this drama. But in 2023, with what is going on, I don't know if you guys know, but with what is going on, do you think that 2023 is the year that you should be coming to the UK? Let's talk about it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the cost of living. Now, if you are abroad and maybe some recruiters reach out to you and they give you a salary, maybe they might tell you, okay, your starting salary might be 28,000 a year, right? 28,000 pounds. That might sound like a lot of money in your currency, and that's what a lot of us do. When they give us a salary, we think, oh wow, that's a lot of money, and when you send money home and all of these things. But let me tell you about the cost of living in this country. And I'm being as honest as possible, guys. I feel like every day it's getting worse. I think from the time of after the pandemic, and then there was the war and all of that, and the electric bills went really high, so high that sometimes, like for me, I would put the heater on, and as soon as I feel like the room is like warm enough, I'll just switch it off. And we make sure that we keep all, like if we only in one room, all the other lights will be off. So you actually have to be like that. And there are people who cannot even afford to turn their heating on. So I'm not trying to scare you. I'm telling you the reality of what it is. The cost of living is getting really high here, and the salaries are not really going up. So even I bought a phone. I changed my phone recently, and I think by the time I left the store, they had messaged me and told me that the price would be increasing by 15% because of inflation next month. And I'm thinking, Lord, I will not make it. But this is the reality of what it is, guys. And I don't know if you have TikTok, but I have been on TikTok recently and noticed that there are a lot of people who are leaving this country and migrating to other countries to work and to live, especially some of the European countries. So people move there. And it's not just nursing, not people in healthcare, just regular people who feel like it's too expensive to live here. So firstly, that's one thing to consider, that the cost of living is high, and your salary might not be enough to cut it. And recently we were having some discussion, some co-workers, friends, everybody, and we're just discussing how much money we have left after all of our bills and everything goes, how much money we actually have left. And everybody's thinking, like, with that amount of money that we have left, how are we ever supposed to save for a deposit for a house? How are we supposed to have certain things that you expect to have in life? So these are things to consider. I will never tell you do not come to the UK. Sometimes if you have these discussions, like me being so honest with you guys, people would think, oh, I'm trying to rob them of an opportunity. I'm not saying that you don't have a good opportunity coming to the UK, but I'm telling you, do not come here and think that things are going to suddenly be, because that is what's happening to a lot of nurses now. People get here and they realize, oh wow, okay, this is not what I thought it was, and then they try to leave and move to other countries, or sometimes they're stuck and they have to stay here for a longer time than they expected. And I don't know if you guys know about the strike that the doctors are striking because, and even, I didn't know that. Only because of the strike, I found out that junior doctors get £14 an hour, 14 pounds an hour. And I'm thinking, like, you go to medical school, you study for so long, and I don't know, sometimes like you read comments and people say, oh, you should have known, or they, like healthcare professionals, you shouldn't be doing the job because of money and all of that, which is true. You're not doing your job because of you do your job because you want to get paid. But at the end of the day, you still have bills like everybody else. And what is happening now is people are struggling to survive. That's what's happening. People are basically surviving. And so the doctors who had a strike last week, 72 hours, the junior doctors, so it was just consultants. I don't really have, like, okay, what my thoughts on that would be, people should not have to struggle so much, especially in these types of careers, because these careers are careers where if you make a mistake, it can mean somebody loses their life. right? These are jobs where you have a lot of accountability, a lot of responsibility. You have to be on, you know, on your A game. You have to dot your I's and cross your T's. These are careers where you have to study so much. These are careers that you have to put in so much effort. Apart from just being able to do the skills, apart from being able to have the knowledge, you have to have that type of compassion. You have to have that love for people. Even on your worst days, even when your life is falling apart, even if you're going through the worst, when you are at work and you're with your patient, you give your best. You put on a smile. You do all of these things. It is a career that anybody who works in healthcare, it is rewarding. You're happy about it, but you shouldn't feel like, you know, people work in any job, or some people work jobs that they didn't even need to study for. In this country, people get paid the same salary or more for jobs that they didn't have to have any special training for, or they didn't have to have a degree. They didn't have to have a degree for it. And I think this is why people are frustrated. This is what is happening. It's not that people are saying, oh, we just want more money, we just greedy. People feel like they have invested so much in their career. They come and they give 110%, and the job is so stressful because the NHS is so short-staffed that you end up doing the job of so many people. And I think people just believe that you should at least be getting more. There must be a way that people can afford to have at least a comfortable life. You don't have to be rich, but at least a comfortable life. But basically, there are nurses. I've heard of nurses who are going to food banks, you know, where like probably homeless people will go to get food. There are nurses, because they don't have enough money, they don't have much left, go and go to these food banks and take food. So this is not me making things up. This is the reality of what is happening now. So the doctors had a strike last week, 72 hours, and I'm not sure what's going to come out of that. But the nurses had strike recently, a few months ago, and the government has just decided that, well, they did put out an offer of 5%, and all of this is still being discussed. People trying to decide their thoughts on it and what they think. Is it enough? There's also like a compensation for COVID. And COVID is another thing. Honestly, if I tell you, COVID is something else. Imagine I just pretend like that didn't happen, because I feel like if I ever have to think about it or relive it or just talk about it, that it just brings back so much trauma that I just act like that was just something, you know? And so I don't know, I feel like I'm here, and I am grateful. I am grateful because I have received so many opportunities being here, and I don't feel like some people are saying they feel like the NHS is falling. It's on its last leg. It's about to just crash. I don't know about that, but all I know is that if you are planning on coming to the UK, I want you to really do your research. Do not think that I'm here trying to be negative or just saying things to you guys. I'm telling you guys, do your research, because what's happening now, a lot of people I know are moving to Australia, moving to the US, moving to Canada, moving to other places in Europe, because people just cannot make it here. So make sure you think before coming. And if you decide, yes, the UK is for you, that you do your research so that you don't find yourself in this types of financial crisis. Anyways, guys, that's just me sharing my thoughts. I hope that you are well, and I hope that you guys have a good week.